From its humble beginnings with Season 1 to its record-breaking performance with Season 4, Stranger Things was a guaranteed hit with audiences from the start. So it's not really surprising that fans are eagerly waiting for Season 5. And even though most of the cast has remained really hush-hush on what we can expect from the final season, David Harbour has finally offered up some crumbs. Well, hey, that's better than nothing. The star, who plays Detective Hopper, found himself at the Middle East Film and Comic-Con this weekend, and that's when he announced that filming for the final season would begin in June. Yay! At least we know one thing, we're not getting Season 5 this year, and while that is sad, part of me is happy too. Hopefully the Duffer Brothers have put in everything they have to give us a banger of a final season.
That's a tough one.
Because it needs to inspire me. I'm a huge Joy Division fan, but I would probably use something from Arcade Fire. Most likely, just because their first album, Funeral, came out when I was in.
And honestly, I don't mind waiting. Remember what they say, kids, good things come to those who wait. Thankfully, that's not all that Harbour said though. He also explained that until filming begins, he'll be busy training, but not like he did for Season 4 when Hopper was stuck in Russia. At that time, my guy wasn't getting fed and was living on morsels, but he was still doing a lot of physical labor. Of course, he lost all his weight.
To play a Russian prisoner, so I had this long hair and this beard, and I was like, big, and I thought, like, I can't be the same guy with long hair and a beard in the same prison. So I was like...
But Hopper is back in the USA, baby, and you know what that means. Cheeseburgers, loads and loads of fatty goodness. And I don't know about you, but Hopper could do with a bit of carb.
Went out and bought a box of donuts and 2 pints of ice cream and just sat down with a knife and a fork like I was going to work. So yeah, I mean, you know, you work out and you do all that stuff, but basically...
I kinda miss his classic look. So what do we know about Hopper from Season 5 until now? Well, he's back in the US. He has reunited with Eleven and Winona Ryder's character, Joyce. And he may have been fired from his job for having been gone so long, but when can fans expect to catch Season 5 on Netflix? I'm going to have to disappoint you here, but we've got no information on a release date. Although that won't stop me from hypothesizing, if filming will begin in June, we can expect the guys to be busy until the end of the year.
With Dr. Owens. If you try to stop me, I will kill you.
The past seasons have taken somewhere between 6 to 7 months to shoot. After that, post-production begins, which will take another few months as well. I hope the VFX team is given sufficient time to deal with the special effects, because we all know just how important CGI is today for good storytelling, so let's assume that if things go according to schedule, then the show should be ready for streaming in June of next year, a full year after shooting begins.
I wanted him to disappear. The day that he died, I think that's why I just stood there.
The reason I'm saying this is because 3 of the 4 seasons were available in the summer, so if the trend continues, we could get Season 5 next summer too. But Finn Wolfhard let slip recently that he'd be able to drink by the time Season 5 came out. You see, after a little bit of math, I was able to deduce that Finn won't be 21 until the end of 2024. This means the show may very well be released in 2025 instead. While that seems like a very long time, fans are used to waiting. I'll just advise you to keep your fingers crossed. In the meantime, what do we know about the final season's plot? Well, there's a couple of things. For one, we know that Vecna will be back. Yes, Nancy did shoot him in that super cool scene, but you know the drill by now, right? No body, no death. Until I see Vecna's unmoving body, I will not be satisfied.
You and your friends believe you have won, don't you?
Then there's Will. After being ignored for the majority of the last 2 seasons, he'll be brought back, and in a larger capacity. The show hasn't addressed any of Will's issues properly, and he needs some love and attention. How do they all forget that he spent so much time on his own in the Upside Down? It's not something you get over quickly. But my rant aside, I'm glad Will has the spotlight once again. Maybe I'll see him call Mike out for being one of the lousiest friends ever to be seen on TV. I did say maybe. Regardless of what I may want, at least we know Will's connection to to the Upside Down hasn't been forgotten, you'll probably remember the group that had been spread out across the USA. Somehow they worked together to bring down Vecna, temporarily mind you, but still, and it's in the final moments of the last episode that the Duffer reminded fans how important Will was to the story. Everything started with Will and everything will end with him. Will has been having a tough time moving on from the events of Season 1, and sadly, his friends can't help but move on. But now it's Will's turn, and fans will see him come into his own. Not just Will, but even other characters will wrap up their arcs, such as Nancy's indecisiveness over her boys. Everyone will slowly come to terms with what is right.
A dream.
Alice, no running.
So big.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you.
And all this will happen in the most dramatic of fashions. You see, the brothers have stated that the show will be pedal to the metal from the opening scene, and you may be thinking this could take away from the emotional aspects of the show, but don't worry. The brothers were surprised to see that the story made even the most hardened of executives cry. So I don't really stand a chance now that I think about it, because the Duffers have already finalized the scripts. In November 2022, in honor of Stranger Things Day, they posted an image of the script for episode 1. The first episode will be titled The Crawl, but sadly, that's all we know about it. Luckily though, the Duffer brothers already have the entire season planned out.
You know, we were recording dialogue in post-production, like we couldn't use him because his voice had dropped so much. So it terrifies me, just because it's not like a movie where, you know, you're shooting for just a month or two. We're shooting for half a year.
For one thing, the runtime of the show will decrease significantly. You'll probably remember that the majority of episodes in Season 4 had a runtime of over an hour, and the finale clocked in at a baffling 2 hours and 20 minutes. Well, that's a thing of the past. The majority of the episodes will be tighter, mainly because the characters all have a goal. They know what to do, and there's no monkeying about. The episodes will be character-driven and will take up a few hours of the season. That sounds good, but for the final episode of Season 5, the Duffer brothers will stick to the usual, a super long episode with multiple endings.
And then basically we ended up being asked to take it all out. So it all went away. And then we sort of begged to just keep, it was important to us to have the children be able to curse.
Kinda like Return of the King. Once again, I'm not complaining. The final episode has to be longer. There are 4 seasons worth of loose ends to wrap up, and a nice long episode will do the trick. We got another look at the creators' plan thanks to a tweet. They gave us a look at the whiteboard, which showed the 8 chunks divided into groups of 4 to plan out the events. And boy, is there a lot. They just have so much to answer in the final season. Just look at all the questions I have, will you? Number 1, will Will ever tell Mike how he feels about him? Number 2, will Nancy choose Jonathan or Steve? Number 3, is Max okay? Number 4, will Hawkins survive the portal that's ripped open right through it? Number 5, will Eddie's name be cleared? Number 6, why do the Russians also have a Demogorgon? And we're not even close to being done. And that's why fans are so excited for the final season. Sure, parting from the show that began in 2016 feels bittersweet, but everything comes to an end. We just hope it's a good one. And that's all I know about the 5th season of Stranger Things.